Embark on an odyssey of self-discovery and transformation. Shatter the chains of adolescent burdens and the relentless quest for approval. Unearth your authentic self, liberated from the weight of societal expectations. Embrace your uniqueness in a world governed by conformity. No longer crave validation, care for yourself and release the past. Conquer your fears and conquer the life meant for you. Join us on this exhilarating journey of transformation to unlock your boundless potential. Embrace a fresh chapter in your life. Break free today. Don't be a spectator in your life. Be the star of your own journey.
Coming up on today's show.
My father was very, very strict. They wouldn't be like, good morning, how are you? Did you sleep well? Or hugs or kisses or encouraging words.
Was he from the army?
No, he was not from that. One of my friends invited me to come to the YPG. She didn't say come to church. She just said come to the YPG.
fam.
But then at the back of my mind, I was like, but my father said, don't go to things and all this. But then I was like, okay, let me go. And then I was there. I was like, wow, I'm going to keep on coming. That's when my father came into the story. It was like, why are you going to that church? But then one day he came to that point of coming to the church. And the service was on and he was like, I don't want any of you, I want my daughter. So he said, come, let's go. The whole way would be like, what are you doing there?
Did you ever think about your love life, or you said, it's not for me, no one will like me?
I used to say, no
The
one will like me.
mindset of someone like this, it's predictable because it's a pattern of behavior.
Eager to know more? Wow, let's stay tuned.
We are women. We are brave, strong, capable, unique. We are women to women.
Good afternoon, South Africa. We are back with another Woman to Woman show, and today speaking about something that might be happening to many women and who knows, men out there. And our aim is to help you to overcome it. Don't forget, by the way, that as Women in Action, we are part of the group Women in Action. We are living Pink October. And by the end of the show, we are going to give you some contacts if you need help to understand and to prevent breast cancer. As women, we need to take care, love ourselves, and look after our own health. So wait for the end of the show, write down our contacts, and we are able to help you. Now we're going to help you in another level. We're going to help you inside. We named this show Shaking Off the Shackles. But when we speak about shackles, we are not necessarily talking about physical chains. We actually referring to past experiences, complexes, inner issues that might have been chaining you for a long time. How many people, on account of bad experiences or what someone told them, they don't develop in life. They carry that burden. They hear that voice of negativity and defeat. And actually, they think they are the person someone told they are. They don't know who really they are. They live that persona that was implied, that was enforced by someone else. And whenever they have chances and opportunities, they don't use it. So today, we are going to help you to shake off those shackles. And this is why we have Netsai here today.
Good afternoon, Miss Marcia, Miss Toko, and to everyone watching.
Netsai lived like that. So that's why she's the best person to show us in practical how to overcome it. But first, let us understand your background, how that came to happen.
So it all started when I grew up in a very strict home. My father was very, very strict. So he would not allow us to visit around or to have friends, or even in school, we were not really allowed to take part in activities like the choir, sports. So it was almost like just be at home from school, go home, and at home, stay in the house, do your books and all that. So we lived in that confinement where there's no freedom to express yourself or freedom to speak about yourself in a way of expressing. So in that time, I grew up with that just dependency on my parents, like fear as well, because I would fear him a lot. Like when he would come home, he'd already come with that voice. So when we'd hear the gate, we'd already run to our rooms, fix everything and quickly run. So that was how I was as a child. So
How many siblings?
I had one at the time, yeah.
Another girl.
Yes, another girl. And then we would do the same. We would all run to the room when he comes, and then everyone would be pretending either to be sleeping or doing your schoolwork. So then that's how it went. So because I wasn't involved in so many things, I think
Just let me ask, why would you fear him? Was he violent?
so. He was very rough, I could say. He was someone that was rough, and I could see how he would treat my mother, because my mother on the other side was very soft. But then I could see that she had no voice. Even though he would say things that were not right towards us, she would just keep quiet. And only later on would she come up to say, no, don't worry, your father is just like that. Don't mind him. Because we would not even have conversations, to the point that in the morning when we wake up, there wouldn't be like, good morning, how are you? Did you sleep well? Or hugs or kisses or encouraging words. This was never there. He was just very straight to the point. If he sees you in the morning, I believe he thought, no, you
Was
woke
he
up.
from the army?
No, he was not from the army. No, he was not from the army. So he was just that strict person, to the point that he wanted to have that control, but he became too protective. I believe he wanted to protect, but it became overprotective. So that's how I lived. Just everyone was there showing. And then at the end, it came to wanting to please him, because we wouldn't have conversations. But as a child, you want the love of a father. You want him to say something motivational, but then he wouldn't. So I started living that life of, what can I do to please my father? Let me live to please him. And then at school as well, when I started school, I would always have that fear of getting to know people. So I without knowing, I was very closed up. And then I gave my all to school, because I knew if I'm good in school, it's gonna really maybe attract some attention from him. So I got very smart. But then there was this incident where there was a grade where I got one certificate. But then he came, and then he asked, oh, you got one. And then he would ask his friend's son, how many did your son get? And then the son got 3. And then he was like, that son is so good, he's so smart. And I was like, but I have 1. But then he wouldn't consider, he wouldn't even say anything. He wouldn't say, well done, or he would just be, oh, you got a certificate. So the next year I tried so hard, and then I got 3, the same as the other guy got, the other boy. And then when I got the 3, he was still asking his friend, how many did your son get? And then they were like, no, my son got 4 or 5. I think it was more than what I had. And then I was constantly like, okay, next time I'm going to get more. And then the next year I got a bit more, but then he never really recognized me. But then the breaking point was when in the last grade of primary, I really did everything. I even asked my mom, can I join the sports team? And then she at least spoke to him, and I was in the netball. So I became very sportive, and then I did good. I got certificates in all the subjects. I was the DAX learner. I was the best. I had medals. I even had a picture where I had medals and all the certificates, sports. And that night, it was actually like a ceremony at school. It was in the evening. And then they asked for the parents to come up. And he didn't even put any effort. He came there with the torn jean, and I knew he had better clothes. And I was like, but my father, how could he do this? And then he came, and then we got the certificates. And that night, we went home with a couple of people because it was late at night. And then he didn't say anything. He still said, what happened to the other boy? How many did he get? And that year he got nothing. So the parents were like, no, unfortunately, this year, I don't know what happened to our son. And the other parents were like so happy for their children. And their children had just like 1, 2. And I was like, I have everything here. But he still didn't say anything. He was just asking about people's children. And then the boy that didn't get anything, he was like, oh, I wonder what happened. He needs motivation. And I was like, I'm here. But then that night, I cried myself to sleep because I was like, I did everything.
How old were you?
I think I was like 13, 14, I think 13, 12. Yeah, the grade, it was like the last grade in primary.
How would your sister relate with that kind of treatment?
But in her case, I felt like, I used to feel like they loved her more because she wasn't like me. She was a bit outspoken. So I felt like she had more attention. They understood her more because she wasn't as good in school as me. But I felt like she's not much like doing good. She's just average, but everyone the attention is on her. Okay, she's passing, but why is it that when I do good, no one sees it? So that's how I used to see it. So I was like, wow, okay, she's the main one. So then that night I was like crying and my mom didn't say anything because she saw how sad I was, but she just waited for the next day. So I also got a prize, like a financial prize. And then my mom was like, no, you got money. Let's go buy something just to try to cheer me up. And then still I was waiting. Maybe he was going to tell his friends, maybe at least in front of me, that my daughter she was the DAX learner. She got certificates, but still he was just quiet. And then that's when I went like, I don't care anymore. I don't care. When it's almost like you were leaning on someone, you were doing everything to please that person and there's no appreciation. So it's like you have no one to please anymore. So it's
Now
like,
you got the shackles.
yeah. Now that's when I got the shackles. So when I went to high school, I was like, I don't care anymore what he's gonna think. I'm just gonna go to school. So it's almost like I lost dreams, vision. I was just there. I had no goals anymore. So then, I reached high school and then they were, you see, everything was different. So now you had to study groups and go for extra classes and all these things. But I wouldn't take them serious. I would hear there's extra classes. I wouldn't mind. I would go home. And then, for example, when we would do things at school, I'll just be there. But deep down inside of me, I always wanted to do good. It's like it's there. But then because you don't want any expectations or you don't want anyone to look to you to see your potential, you just cover it up with ignorance or just be there. And I started...
Look how interesting it is. Your nature was to excel. In the beginning, it was because you wanted to please your father or somehow call his attention, especially being the firstborn, being the girl. Everyone expects that you would be daddy's girl. After that, you turned against your nature and you did not want to excel because you knew with excelling it would come expectations for approval, and approval has never been there. So you, on account of the bad experiences or on account of not having the validation, encouragement you needed from your father, you started acting against your own nature, because by nature you wanted to do well and you had the potential for that. But you chose not to, afraid of having expectations and being frustrated again.
So that's exactly what happened. So then I would be just one more, and I would not want to be in front, but also not at the back, but just hidden in the middle, somewhere there. So then when I had friends that were very, how can I say, outspoken and very good as well. But then when they would speak about, no, I'm going to study, I'm going to do this, I wrote notes, I'll just be there like, yeah, whatever, like... I wouldn't show it because I would always cover it up with just being quiet and very serious, like not approachable also. So then no one would really see that this person wants to, but also doesn't want to raise any kind of expectation. And when a teacher would probably see potential and probably give me just a small responsibility, like I remember there was an incident where the teacher gave me the keys of a hall and tell me, when everyone is done, switch off the lights and all that. But I would be like, but why me? I don't want anyone to see that I'm capable of anything. So I'll just be there. And then really, whenever someone gives me something, I'll disappoint. It's almost like I'll do it intentionally. And then I forgot the lights. And then really she was like, but it was just something simple. Why didn't you do it? And then whenever I'll get something, like there was this holiday job. And then when the person was like, wow, you are doing this very well, the next day I wouldn't come. It's like I just didn't want anyone to have any sort of trust in me or give me any kind of thing to say you are reliable or this. So I'll just be there. So when it's ceremonies of certificates,
It was self-sabotage.
yes, and when it's like certificate ceremonies, you knew that you would do that, you'd be the best, but then when you'd see other people getting and you didn't, and you didn't work for it. So, but then there would be that hurt inside, like a shame kind of thing, like, but I could have, but then I just so I just tell myself, no, I don't care. No, it's almost like you want to disguise that thing with ignorance. Like, I don't care anyway, as long as I pass. And I'll tell myself things like, I don't need to pass with flying colors as long as I'm passing. I'm going to the next grade. Yes, I'm going to the next grade. That's what matters. So goals, for example, we'd have this oral talks at school. What do you want to become? I'll just mention anything. Like, oh, no, I want to be a dentist, or no, I want to be this. But not even...
You didn't mean
Yeah, I didn't
anything.
mean it. It was just for the sake of, let's do this. But when I really think, what do I want to become? I didn't have any vision. It's like I was just there. I didn't have any goals. It was as if no one believes in me. And whenever someone does, I shake it off. Like,
And this, just sorry to cut you, you see that it started very small. It was at home where there was no good morning, there was no like, how are you, or even a compliment from your father. Then you carried it, and you see that when you carried this, you started saying that you are going to prove him wrong. You did your best in your academics. You did so well. Still, there was no like any compliment from him. You tried so much to please your father, but he wasn't pleased. And I think, Mrs. Marcia, the problem was not you, because you did what he wanted, but still he wasn't pleased. And there are many people who are like that no matter how hard you can try to please, they are never pleased, because the problem is not you, the problem is in themselves. And you see that your father, the problem was him, not you, because you tried your best, you did everything. Even the comparison between you and the boy, even when the boy did not do well, he couldn't recognize that. The least he could do, even just to be there for you when you were getting all your medals and everything, but still there was nothing. And because of your expectations from him, you felt so down and telling yourself that you will never do good anymore because of the expectations. And that's what Mrs. Marcia now calls self-sabotage. You started self-sabotaging yourself, isn't it?
yes.
And
that's
how
really what
hard it
happened.
is at a young age like her to be able to differentiate. The problem is not me, it's my father, is that person. Automatically, she brought it to herself. They don't like me.
Exactly.
I am the problem.
Yeah.
I was not meant to be. Even at mature age, there are many who carrying the shackles up to now because they trying to please someone and they don't realize that they are not the problem. Someone else is.
the problem, yeah.
Someone else is.
And as you are saying, Miss Marcia, maybe we have people, sometimes even at their workplaces, they try to please their boss or their superior, but the person isn't pleased with their work. And the problem is the person, not you, because you start blaming yourself and you end up even being demotivated because of trying so hard to please that person.
One question. When you were doing so well, he was not giving any attention. How was his reaction when you changed it and you just became average?
So that's also interesting because he wouldn't say anything. He wouldn't also say, what happened, or did something why aren't you passing? But like the way you used to. But then he was just there.
It's like he didn't care.
Yeah, like he didn't care. So I was expecting him to probably speak to my mother or friends. Like, no, she was good, but I don't know what happened. Because also I was the firstborn in their marriage, but he also had other children. But then he would only say things like, I always had smart children. My children are smart, but he wouldn't refer to me. He would say to the ones that he had before, like I always had. So these things would be like, but what about me? Or you always have words for someone else, for everyone else, but not for me. So then I started seeing everyone like that. So it was like, okay, they are gonna give me things, and then later they're gonna have these high expectations, and then just throw me without really just be there. So that's how I started just being there. Even though I could do something, probably there would be a question about, can you do this? I'd say no, while I do know, or I'd act like I don't know things. Like, especially in school, there are times that you know the answer or you studied about a certain thing, but you just act like you don't know. Like when we had the final exams as well, the grade 10 exams, you know, everyone was studying, everyone was doing a lot, and I was just there. I was like, it's like everyone was worried.
That would be matric in South Africa.
No, it was grade 10 middle.
Oh, grade 10.
In high school. Yeah. So it was like a national exam, and your names would appear in the newspaper and all that. So then everyone was like so stressing, and I'm going to study. But for me, I'd be like, why is everyone stressing? Why is everyone writing these little notes? And for me, it was like everyone was putting so much effort. But then at the end, when the results came, I did do good, but not like I would have done. But then I would feel it inside of me that I could have done so much more. But then I'll go like again, no, it doesn't matter. No one cares anyways. So
you were really bound by shackles, inner shackles, because you would have those moments of regretting, knowing you had the potential to, but something was hindering you to do more. Yes. And then you would get the frustration from yourself now.
And then your friends, for example, would get higher. But then because you don't want to show that thing of, I could have also done that, I go like ignorant. Like, anyways, as long as I'm also in grade 11, you're grade 11. So even when people in a crowd would speak about praises, you know, not the selfish praise, but just the praise like, no, I did this, I did that. I'd always want to not to really motivate myself. I always say, no, it's fine. I don't care much. Or even when someone would say, no, you're really looking good today, I would be like, okay. And then I'll give away that outfit, for example, because I don't want that attention. Or when someone would say, you look good, I'll try to explain, no, this was just so cheap, so cheap. It's like speaking low of myself was normal. I wouldn't want to, or when people are speaking like of their potentials or skills, for me, I'd be like, what's my skill? No, anyway, I have nothing. So
how would you see yourself as your appearance? Would you have a sense you were beautiful? Would you appreciate your features?
Honestly, I would always think everyone else is better. Because I also had a condition with the eyes where they would, like an allergy. Where they would get red as well. So in those moments, I would just look down and I always think that everyone else is better. Like it's cool, especially when you know there are some things that you are mocked at ever since school, primary, but you carry them.
Yeah.
And then people would say, oh, look at your legs, they are so big. And then I would just wear trousers. Or look at this. Or I would carry everything that would be
So just
said.
anything that they would say about you, you would take it very personal and you would do the opposite to brush it off.
Yes.
So your legs are not beautiful, trousers. Your features are not good, others are better. How many opportunities you missed in life because of that?
So there were many opportunities that I really missed because even when it came to choosing who can be part of this in school or something, I would always act like I don't know. Even though I know, if you are given something to go right, to study for the next day, I'd not take it serious. So I'd always lose out on opportunities. There would be times when, I don't know, those years, there used to be this groups from the missionaries from America. They would give like opportunities for you to be probably a trainer of the smaller kids and travel somewhere. I would be there like interested, but then I'll just disappoint. It's almost like I had a fear of excelling, or I had a fear of being disappointed. So I'll just disappoint before it happens. And whenever I'm entrusted with something, I'll just disappoint.
So that no one would disappoint you, you would disappoint someone first.
Yes.
It's like a syndrome. It's a coping mechanism. She couldn't deal with the disappointment of the reaction of the father, and afraid of being disappointed over and over, now she chose to disappoint by doing less than what she could.
Like, let me do it first before it comes to me.
Yeah.
So that was how it is. So many things, I would lose a lot of opportunities. Sometimes it's like a career fair or something where you can really learn to get, since I had no vision, I could probably learn from that. But then that day I wouldn't go to school, or everything was just, I'll take everything lightly. I wouldn't take things really serious. You could see, I would even see that some people are very serious. I had a friend that was very serious, very committed in things. But then the more she would be committed, the more I'd be laid back. And people would sometimes say, wow, you're so patient, you're so this, but they wouldn't know that it's just a cover up. I'm not being patient, I'm just being laid back, like with that ignorant mind saying, I don't care because I don't want to try something and fail.
Did someone among your family members, your sister, your peers, your teachers, see beyond the appearance and behavior you're putting up? Did someone realize you had so much more potential and you were actually sabotaging yourself?
I think they didn't realize because they just thought this girl is very patient, she's kind, she's quiet, but they wouldn't really go beyond.
You manipulated very well.
So I remember even family when I would visit, because even family wouldn't really visit that often because my father would be like, no, you can't go there, you can't go there. Or when you go, then it's just for a little while, come back. So I would be there with all the family members and they would always say things like, she's so quiet, she's not like so-and-so, so-and-so is so outspoken. So all those things would be like, but why? I would take that word quiet as an offense. Like,
I think you hid behind quietness. That is why they couldn't see all those things that Miss Massa is asking about. Because there are many people who are like that. They hide behind the quietness.
And bottling.
Yes, and bottling up things.
A lot of things.
So it's very difficult to get into them and to know them.
yes.
Did you ever speak to your mom about what was really going on?
Although she was very open, she was supportive, she was there, but I wouldn't really say. But also she wouldn't also say, but she would always have that look of something is wrong. Something is wrong. And she would try to say words like, no, you can be better, you can be this. But then it's like I also took her lightly, like, no, it's just my mom. So
She's just being a mother.
Yeah, she's just being a mother, but it's not really what she means. She wants to make me feel good. That's what I sometimes used to say. Like, no, she just wants me to feel good. And that's how I would live. And then with family members, they'd always say, no, who is so outspoken. They would give those praises to everyone else. And I wouldn't get those praises. And then I would try to imitate those people that they are praising. So I'd also I would want to be outspoken. But then later I would say things that I'm not supposed to be saying. And then I get reprimanded. And then I just say, okay, let me just drop everything.
This is not for me.
Yeah, this is not for me. Then I'll just be like, okay, let me just be me. And then, which wasn't really me, but then I just hid.
Did you ever try to understand why your father would behave like this? Did you have any notion, any sense of his background?
I never really had a sense of his background. I just saw him as someone who's really, really tough. Because also, I remember that once there was an incident where I came home, and then I just told him, no, my teacher asked me, I think the teacher mistaken my father for someone else. And then I was just like, no, my teacher said that you are a bototo. The teacher used that word. No, your dad is a bototo. And I took it very light. I was just saying. And then he just said, And then the next day I saw him at the school with the principal and it was like a big thing. And from then on, I was like, I'm not going to be saying anything. So it's like I just left it there.
So what was the word?
Bototo.
And what does it mean for the audience who doesn't know?
I think it's something like a criminal. Oh, yes.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
So he got very upset.
So he got upset and it brought a big commotion. And then I was like, I'm not saying anything else. So I just saw him as someone that is very serious. So we wouldn't have much conversations. To just be general, like, no, at school, there's this. There were times that at school they'd give us letters to go invite your parents to come for a parent meeting. And I wouldn't even give that letter. I would just keep it in the bag. Parents would go, my parents would be missing, but I wouldn't even mind. So I'll just be so, it's almost like you just see him as a father. He's there. He's there, he provides, he's there, but there's no connection. There's no really something that will say, let me sit down with my father and have a talk, or let me open
Never
up.
did.
No.
How long did you live like this?
I think I stayed until, it was very long. I think until I really changed. But then it
How
was
many years?
I think I could say 17 years.
And we are going to talk about how the change came just after a break. But for now, I would like to leave you with this quote.
Let's get ready for the quotes of the day.
The greatest shackles we bear in life are those forged by our own fears. Richard Evans.
You unravel me with the melody. You surround me with a song of deliverance from my enemies, till all my fears are gone. I'm no longer a slave to fear. I am a child of God. I'm no longer a slave to fear. I am a child of God. From my mother's womb, you have chosen me. Love has called my name. I've been born again to a family. Your blood flows through my veins. I'm no longer a slave to fear. I am a child of God. I'm no longer a slave to fear. I am a child of God. I'm no longer a slave to fear. Oh, I am a child of God. I'm no longer a slave to fear. Oh, I am a child of God. I am a child of God. I am a child of God.
Welcome back, and we shall find out what has changed. Pay very close attention to what she's going to say. It might be the key for your change. So up to the age of 17, the whole childhood, and I think it got worse after 12, 13 years old. Up to 17, you were carrying those burdens. You were shackled by all these inner issues that were, to a certain extent, not imposed. I wouldn't like to say imposed, but it started with your father's reaction and made you to bring upon yourself sort of a daily punishment, knowing you could do better, but betraying yourself and not doing it. What has changed?
So then one of my friends invited me to come to the YPG. She didn't say come to church. She just said come to the
YPG
YPG.
fam.
And then that time it was VYG. And then she was like, no, we are having this dance thing. But then at the back of my mind, I was like, but my father said, don't go to things and all this. But then I was like, okay, let me go. And then she told me 3:00. And then 3, I was at her house. I was like, let's go. She was even like, oh, you really want to go? And then we went, and then they were having this dance practice. I think they were preparing for a talent show or something like that. And then I was just seated there. I was like, my intention was just to go watch. And then I was seated, and then the youth pastor came there and said, no, join. And I was like, no, I have my own church. I just came to visit. And then he was like, no, there are no visitors here. Just come join.
So did you go to church before?
No, that was, I used to go to church, but not really faithful. Just, we say I have my church, but you don't even go to your church. So then I would be there, and then I was just watching. And then he was like, no, come join. We don't have any visitors here. Just come. And then I was there, but in my mind was like, but he doesn't know me, but he's already seeing some potential in me, or what is happening here? Because I thought, no, they'll just put me aside and then you just watch. But then I was there, and then I was getting the steps, and I was like, wow, this is nice. So I'd only come for the YPG. And then when it comes to Sunday, even though I wasn't going to church, I was like, no, I have my church. I can't be going to church. But then that morning, I was like, but let me just go. Because I liked the way everything felt in the church. So when I went, even though it was late, I was just there, and I was just shocked that I could understand the preaching. Because I used to have that thing of, in church, only the elders understand what is being spoken. I wouldn't even pay attention. So I was like, no, church is actually for elders to go understand. Us is just to be there. So, but I was like, but why am I understanding the preaching so much? And then I was paying attention, and I was like, wow, it's like I can relate. And then I was like, but I was just shocked, because I was like, why do I understand? And then I was there, I was like, wow, I'm going to keep on coming. So as I came, I could see people would just talk to me out of nothing. And I could see that they didn't have expectations. It was just normal. It was genuine. It was sincere. And anything, it's like they were there for me. So that's when I really took that decision to say, no, I'm going to stay here. But then that's when my father came into the story. It was like, why are you going to that church? You don't know those people. What are you doing there? And then I just ignored and kept on coming. But then one day he came to that point of coming to the church, and the service was on, and he was like, the assistants went there, and he was like, I don't want any of you, I want my daughter. So then I came out, I was like, but I'm in the service. He said, come, let's go. And then he would take me home, and the whole way would be like, what are you doing there? And then and his voice used to be so strong, so loud that it's like it rings in your heart. But then I'd be like, no, tomorrow I'm still gonna come. And then I'd go, and then he would come with another commotion.
Gosh.
And then there came a point where he invited his friends and family friends, and then on a Sunday. So I was like, no, I'm gonna go change, go back to the 2:00 service. And then I just found them there. And they were like, no, everyone was giving an opinion. No, you're young. You can't be committed in this. You need to be committed in school. This is just going to block your way.
Now you have to commit in school. He realized that.
Yeah. So that was when everything he realized now. So I was like, but I was just quiet, because there were a lot elders just looking at you. So everyone was saying something, and he was like, help me, because she's not listening to me. So I called all these people to come talk to you, to the point that sometimes they'll bring other churches. And I'm like, no, I just want to be there. So then later on, he just gave up. So he just left me. So I'd be going to church, and that's how I got committed. And then that's how I started to see that all this time I wanted to please him. But now it's almost like the chains broke off. It's almost like I could understand things clear. It's even myself, I could think for myself because I always depended on my parents to think for me, to decide for me. So this moment that I was like insisting on coming to church, I felt like, oh, I'm deciding for myself. Wow, now I don't need to depend on him to say, do this, don't do that. So I was really like free. I felt like some kind of freedom inside of me, like, oh, now I can think for myself. Now I don't need to depend on someone to say, no, this is right, this is wrong, because I really knew I was fine now. And then I started getting committed, and then I just saw that, okay, I tried to please so much someone that didn't see, but there's actually someone that I can do things for God, for his glory. So it was like he was not the one motivating me. It wasn't anymore who think, or the fear of I'll disappoint that person. It's almost like there was now someone that I can do for, that I don't need to be worried about if I disappoint or create high expectations.
What were the first changes that you saw inside of you?
So the first change I can say was it's almost like you are locked up somewhere, and then it's like you're just loose. There was that, because when you are like in those shackles, it feels as if there's that, because you also overthink a lot. Everything you do, did I do right? Did I not do it? It's like you're constantly, it's like you're not at ease.
And self-doubt.
Yeah, you're in self-doubt, everything. So there's always that overthinking, always that you're always, or regrets. Why did I do this? So you're always talking to yourself, even though on the outside you're quiet, but on the inside there's so many things happening, so many battles. So the first thing I saw was like, there was just that ease. That, oh, now I can decide on something and not double think and triple think and regret.
You could be yourself.
Yes, I could be myself. And I would be there like, oh, okay, so I can be me. And also see that people don't need to expect something from me. It's for me. Because when change comes, it's not for someone, it's for yourself. So when I started making those changes for myself, I myself felt that ease. Just that peace, that freedom of saying, oh, so I can go where I want to go. I can start dreaming now, because I didn't have goals. So I was like, oh, so I can really have something. Now I started thinking, what can I be? What can I go for? Because before I was like, okay, this, and then what? And then what? And then what? So I always used to have that thing, and then what? But now it was like, it's for me, really. And at the end of the day, when I started understanding the things of God, I could see that it's for the glory of God as well. And then it's like the environment as well was very good for me, because I was not really someone that would be in different environments or around a lot of people. So the environment was positive. So you could learn to see your potential and stick to your potential, develop as a person, because I felt like the overprotectiveness didn't allow me to develop. So I was just stuck in that thing. So you are not exposed to a lot of people, to a lot of activities. So instead of growing as a person, you're just stuck thinking you are that person, but you're actually not that. There's so many things you can explore about yourself, but because of that confinement, I didn't really see many things. So when I started coming, I started seeing potential. Oh, okay, in the youth, there's also the platform for you to expose a lot of talents. You even start to wonder, oh, can I do this? And you can see that there's no pressure on you. So there wasn't that pressure to say, you need to be like this, you need to be like this. I was free to be who I was.
And if I may ask, where was that Netsai that used to be so afraid of her father? Because I see that when he was stopping you from coming to the youth, attending the youth meetings, you were so adamant. You told yourself, no, I'm going to go. But before, you said you used to be so afraid even of his voice. It would stay inside. It's like it's ringing. But what happened like to that afraid Netsai?
That's also very interesting, because I even wondered because I could really stand my ground, even though I would not disrespect him to say I'm going, but I would just be there like listening. But the next day I would really go. I would even go in the morning and then go in the afternoon. And then sometimes it would come look for me and don't find me, go to the church. But still, I was like, no, I'm remaining here. It's like I found that comfort, that thing that I needed really to see that, okay, who I am is really who I am. Doesn't need to depend on someone.
What were the first goals you set? after that process?
So, I started having goals like, okay, I'm going to work on me, on developing myself. That's when you even start having those thoughts of, oh, I can do this course, or, oh, I can. And I even had that thing of wanting to do better, because before I was always like, as long as it's done. But now there was that thing of wanting to excel. Like, if I do this, I have to do it in a better way. If I do this, I have to try this. Or even when it came to looking for a job, for instance, I've never felt, because you'd find people finishing matric and just sitting home and then wait for next year probably to go to college. But I was like eager to do something. I was like, no, I'm going to go. But before I would be like, let me just stay indoors. I don't want to meet people. I don't want to be around people. So let me just be indoors. But from then on, I was like, no, let me go do something. So there was always that thing of wanting to do than just being laid back, like ignorant.
Did you further your studies? Did you get a job? What did you do now with this new understanding of who you were and that you could?
So with that, I remember I looked for a job, and then I also did a few studies in the process. But then I was there, and then I was like, let me go out and do something. And then I remember when I went for the first interview, I was standing in a queue of an interview, but this wasn't really something I wanted. Then I got a call, no, there's another interview at another company. So I was like, okay, must I leave this queue? So I just went out of the queue because the other one was far, far better. So then I went there. I even had that confidence to say, okay, I'm going to get this job. So I would be sitting with people that went to university already. But then when I got the job, I was like, but what happened? Just because of that confidence, because I believed in myself. And at work as well, the manager would say, no, okay, because I had a different job in the back office, but he would always have that, how can I say, he believed in me to say, you can do other things, learn every part. So when someone is missing, you can fill in, you can. And then almost there was a moment where someone told me, no, why don't you just do what you are paid for? Why is you are letting him step on you? And that thought came like, oh, maybe I'm trying to be too much. So let me tone down. But then he told me, no, I'm teaching you all this because I do see something in you. So I do believe in you. But then people would say he's taking advantage. But then in that moment, I believe I had that mindset to differentiate when it's advantage or do I want to improve myself, to improve my skills? So that is where I really started seeing that I'm really different from the person that I was before.
And you were freed from all the shackles.
So the shackles fell off because I remember that in that moment, it almost triggered the shackles when I heard, no, they're taking advantage of you. And some would say, why don't you just stick to what you are paid for? Why are you running around here trying to show off? There's always those comments that want to trigger you
Office
to say,
politics.
Yes, to say, okay, let me remain in my spot. But immediately I just thought to myself, no, but I want to develop. I don't want to go back because, when you remember how you were tied up, it's like, no, I don't want to be here always when the manager calls me to think again, to be second guessing myself to say, should I, shouldn't I? What will people say? How? So I didn't want that uneasiness. So I just said, no, let me not listen and just move forward.
During all these years that you were with the shackles, how was your interaction with guys? Did you ever think about having a boyfriend? Did you ever think about your love life? Or you said, it's not for me, no one will like me?
Yeah, exactly. I used to say, no
The
one will like me.
mindset of someone like this, it's predictable because it's a pattern of behavior.
Yeah, I always had that thing, no one will like me, since I thought everyone else was better than me. So I always had that face. Like even when boys would approach, I wouldn't have that thing of giving hope, or I'll just be straight, like serious, not even respond. Sometimes ladies have that thing of, no, I wouldn't even say anything. I would just be serious, move forward. So I really had none of this in my mind as well.
And now when you came to the church?
So when I came, you learn through the preachings and through the guidances. And that's when I started to see, oh, okay, so I'm also someone lovable. I also need to believe in myself and work on myself. And that's how all this started changing as well.
And you're married today.
Yes, and then
So
I got married.
it's probably it has worked. You are married, happily married.
Yes, happily married.
How is the relationship with your father today?
Today, I
The
can
changing process.
Yes, I can say it's surprising because when I lost my mom, I think that was 2020. Out of the blue, he just became someone else. I don't know where that person came from, because he started calling me, asking me about advice, love life. Like now, he wants to move on. He'd be open about things that he never was open. He would speak of things. He even would tell me, "No, can you write down my PIN of the bank account in case I die?" Or, he started being so open. He speaks like when you call him. And then I was wondering what just changed. I never knew him this way. So even now when you invite him, "Can you go to the church?" He would say, "No, I was there. I went in the morning." And then sometimes I'll try to understand what really happened, but it's a bit difficult to understand because he became a totally new person. Because before I'd depend on my mother to communicate with him for certain things, but then now he just calls by himself. He speaks openly, and I was like, "What happened?" So that
I think your mother had been so sweet and filled the gap. And when she was gone, he didn't have that walking stick anymore. So he had to fend for himself. I could say so from someone who would put you down, would not have any appreciation for you. Today he respects you for the woman of God you are.
yes,
To the point of asking for advice.
yes.
I think also, Mrs. Massa, because of the change in her, because sometimes we wait for people to change, and then I'm going to change when this one is going to change. But when the change starts in you without you expecting others to change, you do it for yourself, then automatically that person will change as well. Yeah.
So now, even though he might not have the expressiveness, but then you can see he's really there. He trying, he's there speaking, and it's something really nice that I always wonder why now. Could have been earlier, could have been many years ago, but then now is when he's himself.
And you are enjoying this new phase of your relationship with your father.
Yes.
So just to summarize in 2 points, how can you free yourself from the shackles? First of all, you need to find out who you truly are. You cannot live out of the perception, the expectation, or even the frustration that people bring on you. You cannot be who someone else wants you to be, or someone else said you are like this. You need to know who you truly are. And second, you need to look at yourself through God's eyes. That was the phase for Netsai. Of course, there is so many stages that we just didn't mention. She gave her life to God. She received the Holy Spirit. She is involved with the YPG. She got married. She's a pastor's wife. So all of that started from the moment that, through God, she could see who really she was, and that from all people, God would not have expectations and would not frustrate her. On the opposite, if she didn't have anyone to do what she wanted to do for, or to prove a point, or to grow, now she found she could do it for God. And doing for God all the changes, all the adjustments that brought her freedom. So she broke off those shackles. And this is what we want you to do today. Now, what is God's point in this?
Let's see God's point in this.
God makes a promise in John 8:36, and it reads like this: "Therefore, if the Son makes you free, you shall be free indeed." The Son here with capital letter is Jesus Christ. So when you commit to God, all the shackles, all the pain, all the burden the traumas from the past, complexes, what is hindering you, and you say, God, here it is, and I can't live like this anymore, the Son will come, set you free. And when you are free, you are turned into a new person. The past does not hinder you anymore. Your fears, your insecurities, whatever you thought you could not do, that image, that broken image you created of yourself is gone. You are able to speak about your complexes. You are able to speak about your problems because they are no longer there. They don't hurt anymore. Actually, you use to help someone else. But while you don't turn to God, you can try to compensate. You can try to find success, career, to find validation in your finances. You can try to please family. You can live a life hoping that someone will appreciate you. And you can even give yourself completely to someone who seems to appreciate you. But here and there, the ghosts of the past will come back. For some time you feel free, but immediately after, one word, one event, one feeling, you see yourself in shackles again. However, when Jesus comes, receives your pain, and makes everything new, he sets you free, nothing of the past will ever haunt you again. This is what happened with Nitsai. Nitsai had that experience. If she didn't have anyone to live for, to do something, to be appreciated, she saw that God appreciated her. And that was the propelling point for all the changes that came about, so that today she could be here encouraging you. Now she doesn't carry that burden anymore for many, many years. How many years?
I think for more than 10 years.
More than 10 years you're free?
Yes, free from that.
And when you look at this decade in comparison to your life before, could we safely say you are another person?
Yes, I'm another person.
Completely different.
Yes, at ease. Yes, totally different.
This is the freedom that only the Son can give to you. And the best part of it, he is offering you that opportunity today. So grab it. Toko, conclusion of the matter.
Now for the conclusion of the matter.
The conclusion of the matter today is that stop living to please people, because you cannot please everyone. You see that she was trying to please her own father. So imagine other people that are not even related to you. So you have to take this opportunity and do what she did. Give the Lord Jesus Christ a chance and stop carrying these shackles inside of you. Give them away. Remove these shackles from your life in order for you to have this freedom that Mrs. Massa spoke about, because you will only be free indeed when the Lord Jesus Christ is given a chance in your life for you to take a step forward and stop living for people and live for yourself at least, because sometimes maybe you are made feel small by your bosses, by your parents, by your friends, but it doesn't need to be like that. You have to give Jesus a chance so that the shackles can be removed from your life.
I would ask her to tell you what to do. She did already. And conclusion is, God is here for you. But I will ask her to pray for you, because maybe you are exactly like she felt. She wanted to do something, but then she was enslaved and said, I cannot, and she would not try until she broke free. And today she's going to pray for you that in this moment, it doesn't need to be later on, doesn't need to be tomorrow, doesn't need to be Sunday. In your place, in your room, on your bed, you can shake off the inner shackles that are haunting you and hindering you from the life that God has prepared for you. Shall we pray?
My God and my Father, We thank you so much, my God, for what you have taught and what you are doing in the lives of the women that are watching, the viewers. My God, I pray for those that have inner shackles, those that might be going through the situation I went through. May they realize that they don't need to feed off the approval of this world. Because whenever we try to feed ourselves with approval, with praises, we will always need that, my God. But with you, you are the one that doesn't need us to be something that we are not. We pray and we ask you to work in the lives of each of the women that are out there, for them to know that they are enough when they are with you, for them to realize that the person to fight to please is you. I pray that you touch those that maybe they haven't even realized that they have this shackle, for you to reveal to them, my Lord, that they need to let it go. Because at times we might find comfort in these things, my God, comfort in hiding, comfort in being far from people, not knowing that we are hiding ourselves from our potential. My God, I surrender our lives, the lives of everyone that is following this program, even those that will watch it later on. May it reach out to the one that is in need of it, and may your power be manifested. Just as you worked in my life, work in the life of each and every woman going through this. Or it might be something similar, but may you reach out to each one that is listening. My God, we thank you so much for what you are doing through this program, and I believe you are reaching out to many women out there. So I surrender all, my Lord, the hosts, my God, keep using them even much more, and may your word be fulfilled to whomever it goes out to, my Father. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen. So Netsai, thank you for being here and sharing. Netsai is also part of our group Women in Action, and I wanted to bring to an end our show, reminding you that as women, we care, we love, and that starts by taking care of ourselves, of our health. Pink October is the month of awareness to breast cancer, not only in South Africa, but throughout the world. There are those who have a sense, if I'm going to go there, if I check and I find something, what will I do? The best cure is prevention.
The fear of the unknown, Mrs. Mas.
The fear of unknown. So we are bringing this campaign, and we're leaving here our contact numbers. If you need counseling, if you need guidance, if you wanted to know more about that, you can contact us, because during the month of October, we are bringing awareness that you can be aware, you can make women around you aware, and in this way, you are caring. And you're caring for yourself and for those who are very important in your life. So join us for Pink October. Until next week, last week of the month of October. And we're coming also to the end of this recording in our settings, and we have a beautiful surprise for you from November or December, but that I can't speak. By the way, you don't see Nadala here today. She has run to the new settings ahead of us. She will be back next week, and soon you're going to be part of our new format and our new show. God bless you all. Bye-bye.
Laughter.
No, there is no cut. Let's go, Nami.
Classical moments.
So I'm not sure if I can answer that or my friends can do.
Humbling.
Totally drift away from my vision, from my purpose. And God was so merciful because He saw my sincerity, though I was drifting away, but He saw my sincerity.
Impactful.
To give of yourself to your child, to listen when they speak, to listen when they are talking to you, not to shut them down, not to shout at them, not to call them names, but your presence will remain with them forever, and they will appreciate the teachings that you give to them.
Eye-opening.
but values and principles do not change at all. They stay the same. And once I know that, and once I tell myself that, and I love myself because I'm not going to compromise my salvation for somebody else, then once I love myself in that way, it will be easier for me to love others.
Do you find yourself experiencing those moments while watching the Woman to Woman programs? Well, this is our gift for you. We are announcing our Woman to Woman playlist on Facebook and YouTube. Watching Made Easy, where you can go back to the shows again and relive those moments. Enjoy.